Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 9 of Talking Tech, the weekly podcast from MobileTechTalk. This episode is episode 9 called CES, and I came up with that, and I'm very, very proud of myself. So, if you didn't know, this week in Las Vegas is the Consumer Electronics Show, or what was formerly known as a Consumer Electronics Show. It's just now called the International CES. Is going on. It's kind of everything important that happens or is going to happen throughout the year is shown off now in varying stages of development, and then throughout the year they come out. It tries to set the big trends. So the last couple of years we've seen 4K TVs be a thing, and they're slowly coming into the mainstream now. So we thought we'd talk about some of the big stuff we've seen at CES so far, and at the end of the podcast we're going to talk about our favourite things from CES so far. So joining me this week we have Chris, Mark,
Hello.
And a podcast movie, Abdullah. So say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi guys.
Hello.
And
Hello, guys.
when you guys say hello, it gives me a time to drink. So all
There's a
so
reason he does it, really.
yeah. I mean, so starting off, I think we're going to probably talk about the most controversial thing that came out of the last day or so. The consumer version of the Oculus Rift has had its price announced.
Wallet burner.
Yeah, it's not cheap, and it's more expensive than they said. So the CV1, I think it's called, consumer version 1 of the Oculus Rift is going to cost £500 and roughly $600.
Though there is a catch.
There is a catch.
And
You
that's
still
it.
need like an £800 to £1,000 PC to actually take advantage of it.
Oh, there's another catch then.
Well, I wouldn't say the other one's a catch. I'd say it's a perk. So, if you backed the Rift on Kickstarter and you backed it enough to get a what do they call it? DK1, Development Kit 1. If you pledged enough to get DK1, you get CV1 for free, it's actually pretty good of them. Though it apparently came out today that even at $600, Oculus makes next to no money on the Rift. Which not really, but it's making me laugh more than I thought it would. So as we can see, Mark is laughing his arse off, so we're definitely going to Mark first.
Okay. Yeah, it's just. I'm sure it's a great product. I'm sure it's super awesome and amazing and wonderful, but it's £500. Plus, you need a £1,000 PC to do anything with it. It's like it's the new Google Glass. It's
Glass hole. But no, you're going to be
Pretty
VR
much.
hole.
Yeah, it's a device for people who got in, started working for Google in the early days and are now bajillionaires, and they, have
People with so much money that you don't care they called you a glass hole because you're wiping your tears with $100 bills.
Exactly. This is for people who run around San Francisco with more money than they could possibly ever spend in their entire lives, and their children's lives, and their children's children's lives, and this is just how they're going to piss it away. And in a year's time, this technology is, it's just going to die. It's going to go exactly the same way Google Glass did.
Okay. Abdullah, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, because we don't get to hear from you often.
Initially, I wasn't interested in VR as an alternative so far, because obviously technology hasn't reached a stage where, obviously, I think we're necessitated the use of VR so far. 10 years time, that's another story. But add the 600 price mark, and I was completely switched off from then.
Yeah,
Forget this.
I think I saw something that was in 1996, a VR headset cost $60,000 and it was a pile of wank. 2016, it cost $600 and it's actually pretty decent. In 2037 or 2036, it's going to come in a cereal box. It's going to be amazing. And I was like, that's actually probably not far off. Like, it's going to get to the point where it's going to be amazing, but I have this fear that VR, more so than AR, like VR, I have a horrible feeling it's going to be one of those things that's relegated to like the shopping centers, where you kind of have those areas where you can just experience stuff. So
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
or like in arcades, because where I live on down at the seaside, they have like just rows and rows of arcades, and it has pretty much everything you can imagine. I can totally see them having a virtual
VR
reality
section.
thing. Yeah,
You
thing.
know, you've just actually given me an awesome idea of what needs to happen
Oh,
with
this is gonna be good.
Oculus. Amazon needs to buy them and do the Oculus Fire, and you can go shopping in virtual reality around an Amazon shop.
You almost made me spit out single malt, and I
Right?
very nearly hate you for that.
That's what needs to happen. The Amazon Oculus Fire.
Oh Lord, Chris, what's your thoughts on it? Well, Chris is dying, so we obviously done something right.
Thank you, Mark. Well, my laptop about wore that Pepsi. It's VR. I'm kind of getting fed up of hearing of VR. You've got Oculus, you've got the Samsung one, which is now powered by Oculus, which you have to have a Samsung phone for, and you've got cardboard.
Not just a Samsung phone. You have to have like a very high-end Samsung phone. You have to have an S6, an S6 Edge, an S6 Edge Plus, or a Note 5.
Edge Plus was nice.
Or a Note 4, I think, as well.
You have to have a Samsung phone for. There's two different viewers. There's one for the older phones and one for the newer phones.
Well, no, I think there's three, because there was one for the S5, which was
There might be
like
three.
tiny. There was one for the Note 4, which had a fan in it, like an actual spinning fan, because it got so hot. Then they made one for the S6, S6 Edge, S6 Edge Plus, and Note 5, which actually just like expanded.
No, so yeah, we would have been back to a free.
Yeah.
No,
So yeah,
it's just another thing.
yeah. There's also things like there's Vive,
Yeah,
there's
you've got-
cardboard. I think VR can be cool. I think in its current
With the
state,
correct
VR
price.
is not cool.
it is with the correct price tag.
Yeah, I think if the right people get into it as well, like I could totally see people doing like VR lightsaber battles if EA and Disney and Lucasfilm and everyone like
Oh,
get
yeah,
everything
games.
sorted out.
Some games could be awesome, but the price, it needs to come down to, not more than the cost of two Xbox controllers. Any more than that, and you're starting to get into the realm of no one's gonna buy it.
You're
I mean,
trading on thin ice.
it costs the same as 4 Xbox Elite controllers, so that means it counts for something, right?
That just says really how expensive it is.
What are they doing though? I mean, how seriously? Like, how can they possibly? What are they packing in to make it so expensive?
The
They'll need a
display.
computer to run everything.
The display is, like, from what I understand, absolutely insane. It's for the couple of development kits, they were literally using Samsung phone displays.
They were using Samsung displays off the Note series.
Yeah, for a while they were using those, but for the CV1, it's a custom-made panel, which is like I think it's like 3,000 across, so 1,500 per eye, and then like
Why?
1,600 up, because the resolution needs to be high enough that you don't really get the screen door effect. So when the becoming pixels become so noticeable, like
Because if you're playing Minecraft, that's gonna matter.
Yeah.
Well, it's not meant. It's meant for things like Valkyrie or like Counter Strike or something like that. It's not really meant for Minecraft. That's what HoloLens is for, which is an AR headset. But I think the first game they showed off with Oculus like 2 or 3 years ago at CES was Doom, because Doom is such an old game at this point that you can see blocks essentially. Like.
Yeah, well, your watch is powerful enough to run it.
I've not got my watch on. Just realised.
Like I said, it's going to cost £500 or $600. That does not include the absolutely insane PC you're going to need to run it. I think
I know there is a tool that allows you to see if your PC can run it.
Yeah, I think you need a GTX 970 or an R9 290 or higher. You need like 8 gigs of RAM or higher. You
8
need,
gigs
like,
of RAM. That's
yeah, you need like an i7 or higher. You need at least 2 USB 3.0 ports. The prerequisites are super high.
I'm just searching it now.
Like I said, if I was buying any of them,
Yeah.
I'd probably buy an Oculus or a Vive because I don't own a console, so buying a PlayStation VR is useless.
Yeah,
I
but
already have a cardboard.
But Dom, if someone said to you, "Here's £500, you can have an Oculus Rift, or you can go and buy, I don't know, anything else."
I'd buy anything else.
I'd buy something.
Is that with the
else.
games?
I mean,
Is that with the
it's
games?
just nobody's
No, that's
picking
not with
the
the
Oculus.
games. I mean, like, you have to... Actually, no. With the Rift, you get a copy of, I think it's Eve, Valkyrie, and something else. So you do get 2 games, with
Okay, that's fine.
which are probably like $50 each, or however much games cost. Yeah, my little brother got an Xbox One for Christmas, and like they said, I saw the cost of, I think it's Halo 5 he bought, and I was, what? How can these games cost that much?
Yeah, that is a problem. That is a big problem. That's what's
Like,
leading.
these games are super expensive,
That's
and they're
what's
not
leading-
even finished. That's what all the DLC's for.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I always see DLC as it's there to make the game a little bit better and give you something different to keep you on the game in the
It
future.
can be. It can be. Some games, however, like Civ 5, it was very much, we've removed all the features that you loved from Civ 4. Here's the
Now pay
game, you
for
can buy it, and now you can buy each and every single one of those features back for a tenner at a time. And it was no. After that, EA, is it Civ's EA, isn't it?
If it's shitty, it's probably EA.
If it's shitty, it's, yeah, that's probably what.
If it's shitting on the consumer, then yes, it's very likely EA. So
EA.
that's what's kind of making me think it's from them. But
I mean, the other one,
yeah.
it could be Ubisoft, who the Linus Tech Tip guys have a great jumper that's keep on digging, and it's because whenever Ubisoft make a PR announcement, they always dig themselves a deeper hole with what they're saying. So it's like EA, Ubisoft, and what was the other one? Warner Brothers. So every time whenever they make a PR announcement about one of their games or anything, it just like digs them a deeper hole. So the jumper that says like keep on digging, it's like an 8-bit shovel.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to buy one. I think you could buy them at one point, but it's
Yeah.
just the import, just the fees to get it across here. But no, on the Oculus Rift, it's an i5 4590 equivalent or greater.
So it's an i5 Haswell or newer,
Yep, and it's a HDMI 1.3 video output.
which is super old at this point.
Yep. Windows 7 Service Pack 1 or newer. Most people.
Ancient at this point.
Mm.
Nearly a decade old is.
Yeah,
Windows.
GTX 970, AMD 290. That's the recommended. I don't know what the.
Those are pretty much baseline. Like from what I've heard, you can run it on lesser hardware. You won't want to run it on lesser hardware.
I think that's as low as Oculus dare to go.
Yeah. Otherwise, you do get significant problems, and then you get people being motion sick and stuff like that. So moving on, before we spend too much time talking about VR, Dell. Dell is one of my favorite companies, and since they went private they went back to being private a couple of years ago, they've started doing some actually really cool shit. Speaking of cool shit, Dell has thrown out a 30-inch 4K UHD OLED monitor, and it costs $5,000.
Why does it cost $5,000, Dom?
Because it's a Dell, really. Like all of Dell's monitors are super expensive.
I don't know. They do. Sorry.
Doesn't it have USB-C on it?
It does. It has USB 3 and Thunderbolt 3, which doesn't really add to the price all that much. The thing that's costing a lot is the fact it's an OLED monitor and the fact it's 3840 is UHD. Those are the two that are like really expensive at this thing, because we can buy like OLED panels and phones, and we can buy OLED panels and TVs. It's getting the mid-sized one that was quite hard.
Yeah, getting panels of that size with,
High enough yield.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dell's traditional standard for monitors was any more than 3 pixels wrong, and they bin it, or they consider it a B model.
Yeah. So especially if I think this is going into their ultra sharp range, which makes me very happy because
Yeah.
Dell's
it will
ultra
be
sharp.
an amazing screen.
Oh, it's going to be like perfectly calibrated. I think they said 99% of the DCI 4K, which is even higher than Adobe RGB, which is like leaps and bounds ahead of sRGB. So most displays are between 95 and 100% sRGB at this point. Like really good professional displays are like 99+% Adobe RGB. And then there are like literal workstation displays that are DCI 4K, which is this is actually not DCI 4K resolution though, which is 4096 by 2160.
Nothing about
this is going to be perfectly calibrated.
Yeah, to be honest, I think the limiting factor with using this monitor will be your eyes.
Yes. Oh, without a doubt. 30-inch 4K, you'll still need scaling in Windows. Even if it's only like 125%, I very much doubt you'll be running this at...
Oh, but it will just be so pretty. So pretty, you'll want to touch it and drool.
Well, you can't, it's not a touchscreen, but still, nice try. But
I'm not going to say
the thing that's interesting to me is USB-C on this, or Thunderbolt 3. Because that's like, you plug power into the... say you plug power into the monitor and it's got a USB-C, it's got a USB hub. You plug your keyboard and mouse and your external hard drive into the monitor, and there's a single USB-C cable going down into your laptop. That's charging your laptop. It's like extending the display. You're currently getting the external hard drive, the keyboard and mouse, and there's literally a single cable coming out of your laptop. That is the shit. But I don't really want to pay $5,000 for it.
Yeah.
Like, Abdullah, what's your thoughts on this? Because again, it's a lot of money.
The problem is, I see the USB-C, but I also see the 5000.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. But I mean, Dell Ultra Sharp displays are quite expensive anyway. Like a comparable monitor from say Acer or Asus is usually about 100 to 200 pounds cheaper than the Ultra Sharp model. I mean, there are reasons for that. Like Dell has this amazing warranty policy. If you've got on their Ultra Sharps, if you find like a dead pixel, they'll just like RMA it straight away, like no questions asked. Dell has some amazing stuff, and that costs money. But like they're really expensive.
It's really expensive, but I would say, without having seen one in front of me, it's probably going to be the absolute best monitor that money can buy, period, in the world.
I mean, I don't think we should really be surprised at this either, though, because Dell has been a monitor leader for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
They had the 5K monitor, I think it was last year or the year before, which was actually limited by other technology at the time. So coming out later this year is DisplayPort 1.3. which can easily do, I think it does 8K at 30 Hertz, but it can do 5K at 60 Hertz or 4K at 120 Hertz. The 5K monitor Dell showed last year, obviously DP 1.3 wasn't out at that time. You had to use 2 DisplayPort 1.2A cables to run that, which means it was a dual tile display, which means it had a whole hell of a load of issues. Windows saw it as 2 separate monitors and whatever. But Dell has always been or not always, but for at least a good decade or so, Dell has been at the forefront of monitor technology. They've been doing...
I'd say at least in the last kind of 20 years. Dell have always been... And in fairness, I think the prices for what Dell charge have always been actually quite reasonable. I mean, if you keep in mind when... Apple had their cinema displays, when they actually sold separate monitors.
They still do. It's just there is no point in you buying it at this point. Yeah. It's still 25 by 14.
But you could buy the exact same panel from Dell with the Dell logo on it, and it was half the price.
I mean, that is true, and to a lot of the time it is true. Except with that 5K one for last year. I think they sold that for like 2,500, and then Apple sold the iMac 5K with the same panel for like 1,700 with a PC inside. So Dell was definitely making money on that one. But yeah, that was kind of the one that stood out for me. They made some other monitors, so they did a WiGig one. I don't know if any of you guys know what WiGig is.
Never heard of it.
WiGig is a standard put forth by Intel, I believe, that uses 60 gigahertz spectrum. So really short range, can be blocked by a lot of stuff, but it is like a couple gig. I think it's like 4.8 gigabytes worth of bandwidth. So it's like super high speed. So if you can have like a WiGig laptop and a WiGig display, you can essentially have a wireless display, but it acts as if it was plugged in.
The thing that Intel kept trying to push it for was in place of USB hubs.
Yeah.
Everything had WiGig, and you just put your stuff near your little hub, and everything would all work super fast and zippy. And yeah, nobody ever used it.
No, but they did a WiGig monitor with a Qi and PMA wireless charger in the stand. So you just had this monitor and you put your phone down on the base and it would charge your phone. That's cool. I don't remember seeing a price for that, but Dell's put a lot of stuff out at CES this year. And like again, for a longest time they were actually kind of a boring company, and then think about 4 or so years ago they went private again. And that's when they started doing the cool stuff. They revamped the XPS line, so we saw the cool XPS 13, which has since been upgraded again. We saw the tablets, and now we're seeing stuff like this. And I really hope that Dell go public again so I can buy Dell stock. But I don't think it will happen for a while. So moving on, Chris, do you want to speak about the next thing?
Yes, so for those of you who... which one are we going to? I'll go to this one. So for those of you that are familiar with Macs, you'll know they use a standard called MagSafe as the charger. It was a little magnetic charger that when you stepped on it, it just popped out because it was being held on by magnets. Very similar to the original Pebble.
MagSafe was way better than the Pebble charger.
It was way better, but it was same concept.
Yeah, it is a magnetic charger that held on.
Yep. Well, everyone knows in the 12-inch MacBook, Microsoft, Apple decided, no, you don't need that. We want to burn a hole in your pocket. You need to buy USB-C. Well, the clever guys at Griffin have developed a USB Type-C MagSafe style. It's not MagSafe, but it's same concept. It's basically a magnetic cable, and then on the end there's 2 magnets and a little adapter that takes the charge from the 2 little pins and puts it out to USB Type-C. So you don't damage your expensive MacBook by accidentally forgetting the charging wire. There was not much slack in it and ripping it off the table, which I've never done before.
I have pulled a laptop off the table. Luckily, it wasn't a very big drop. So, but yeah, MagSafe was always one of those things that I envied as a Windows PC user.
Yes.
It was always, apart from like the bloody cost of them and they kept breaking, but the actual technology itself, like why had no one else thought of making a magnetic charger, apart from the fact that Apple probably patented the hell out of it.
More than likely, but
and for the longest time everyone was using a different charger. Now that USB-C is coming and it can do so much stuff, a lot of companies are starting to move towards USB-C, and that's actually another trend we've seen at CES. Is there are a lot of USB-C based products? Like I think it's HP has their new EliteBook Folio, which is like their Ultrabook using Core M and stuff, and it's essentially a 12.5-inch 4K notebook using a Core M7, but it has 2 Thunderbolt ports, and the new Thunderbolt uses USB-C because it's so versatile. And Griffin has just capitalized on this and made a breakaway charger. So yes, they advertise this for the new MacBook, so they're like bringing MagSafe, but anything with USB-C this will work with the Chromebook Pixel, the new XPS 13, the XPS 12, anything with USB, even the Nexus 6P and Nexus 5X all of these phones with USB-C, or all of these devices with USB-C, will work with this breakaway charger. And this makes me excited. Abdullah?
With the USB-C being applied to Android phones specifically, the idea of reversible attachments, I quite like that. Specifically for the compacts, you can take it away and put it the other way around without having to break off the top part. I like that part really bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to. You don't have to have USB-C to be reversible. I mean, as I've said in the podcast, and the review is going up later this week, I promise. A company called Winegear have made this, which is a reversible micro USB cable, which essentially lops off the bottom or top, depending on how you look at it, of the old micro B plug, and it just plugs in both ways, which is really cool. And because everything else is currently using micro USB, this is amazing. But there is no doubting that USB-C is the future. And if you give me a second, I can actually just pull up a USB cable.
There's one thing I'm not liking about the that cable. It doesn't have a reversible full-size USB plug on it. That's what we need, and then we'd be at gold.
Yeah, we have reversible micro B, but on this we don't have reversible Type A.
Which reversible Type A is there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm currently testing the Lumia 950, and don't let me get into that. But that comes with a USB 3.0 Type C cable. USB Type C. It's fine. USB 3.1 Gen 1. Fine, if you want to get into semantics. It's cool. USB-C is amazing. It gives me the exact same benefits that this cable gives me on my current phone, and it does other stuff. So I can do display out. I can do up to 100 watts of charging or 100 watts of power transfer if both ends are USB-C. I can, if the cable and device supports it, I can do DisplayPort, HDMI, or SlimPort, or MHL alternate modes. There's
Have you tried that yet? The Continuum.
No, because I didn't get Continuum dock, but I believe you can still do Continuum over Miracast.
Yes.
And I'm looking to see if I have any Miracast compatible dongles in my house. I believe the Amazon Fire TV sticks are Miracast capable, and if they can, I'm going to be trying it later.
If not, if you've got someone that's got an Xbox One, I don't know how long, but if you can get them into the preview program, download the wireless display app, it should pick up from there.
Yeah, no, I have a little brother with an Xbox One, and I as the owner of the router, I restrict his bandwidth. I'm not giving him anything. Nope. He gets no more than 7.5 megabits per second. Because Xbox Live will take anything you give it, and he will also take anything you give it. So I'm restricting his bandwidth to 7.5 down and 2 up, because reasons.
2 up's not bad, considering I go on about 1 up, and I go through fine.
I mean, we get 20 up, so I thought I'd be reasonable, 10%. So, like I said, the interesting thing for me is not USB. It's not the breakaway bit. It's USB-C, because again, although they're saying like they're very much marketing this towards 12-inch MacBook users. This is for anyone that has USB-C. So Pixel C, Chromebook Pixel 2, Nexus 6P, Nexus 5X, 2015 MacBook. Even that phone Craig's got, the Le TV Le 1S, like that uses USB-C. Craig could technically use this. This is cool.
Yeah. It's cool, but
I don't know if they gave a price though.
No, I don't think there was one. I didn't see one in any of the YouTube videos, and I must have watched about 4 different ones. But no, the only thing I'm not, I'm not excited for it over the fact it's USB Type-C. To me, USB Type-C is here. Yeah, some phones are going to ship with it. Some phones are going to stay on either a micro USB, or in Apple's case, they're probably going to stay on some proprietary Lightning cable.
Before you carry on, can I just say I'm very surprised there is not a USB-C to Lightning cable yet. Seeing an official one, you can buy third-party ones, But the fact that Apple makes a computer with only a USB-C port and there is not a USB-C to Lightning cable,
You know why they do that, don't you?
so they can sell you an adapter.
So yeah, so they can sell you an adapter. But no, the thing I find more interesting is the breakaway bit with the magnets. That is the bit I'm interested in it for, not the fact it's USB Type-C. To me, USB Type-C is here. It's at that stage where everyone went into the fad over the Lightning cable that lasted for about a week.
I mean, I don't think anyone was really like happy that Lightning existed because they spent a decade buying like 30-pin cables, and they were like, "Well, fuck you."
When I had the iPad Air 2 in, that's one thing I did like was Lightning. The fact that I could before I went to bed, I was normally watching stuff on it, and I'd get the battery down. I could just grab it and go plug it in and not have to worry about which way around I was putting it.
Yeah, no, I see that. I said that this. Sorry, I have to get the Lumia 950. Don't buy this.
Have you put your SIM card in that yet?
No, it's locked to Vodafone. I already tried. But the fact that I can do this and I can turn it around and do this, that's super cool. But like I said with the mic flip the review, one of the important things that a lot of people don't think about, and I've said it in Slack a couple of times, is the locking mechanism. If you use Lightning, it's great that it goes in both ways, and also that's what she said.
Lock.
It doesn't feel like it locks very well. Like it never feels really all that secure, and it's not that much of a problem on smaller devices like iPods. When you get up to iPads, when they're like really heavy and something like that,
they're not heavy anymore. iPads aren't heavy.
I mean, they're still they're still heavier than iPods.
Yeah, they're heavier than iPods, but I had when I obviously had the Air 2 in. My neighbour's daughter locked her out her iPad 4, and
that thing's a tank.
I took it out of the case. It was like really heavy. And it was just there was no room on my desk. I literally had to make the smallest gap. I picked it up and I took it out of the case. And I was like, "Is this an iPad or is this a brick? Is it a brick with a screen?" Because that's what it honestly felt like. You could see the development where they jumped from the iPad 4 to the Air brand. I don't think we're ever going to see an iPad 5. It's just going to be we're moving into the Airlines.
I mean, after a while, they're gonna have to stop naming the Airs as well. Like they got to a point where it's like I think they made
the first Air.
They made 3 iPads and then they dropped the numbering, didn't they? Because there was iPad, iPad 2, iPad 3, and then it was just the new iPad. 4. No, it was never officially called the iPad 4. It was the new iPad.
That's what you're referring to. Because it was iPad 2, then it was the iPad with Retina, then it was officially called the iPad 4.
Oh God.
Then it was Surface.
Then it was the Air, then it was the Air 2, and eventually they're gonna have to drop the Air name before they run out of numbers.
Well, they got to Mini. They're on Mini 4 now, and they haven't renamed it. That'd be a fun name. iPad Mini Air. Try to say that quickly.
I don't know what to say. I don't know how we got onto this from fucking Griffin Clone's MagSafe, but we did.
USB Type-C to Lightning, Lightning to Apple.
There you go.
Apple to iPads.
Moving on, before we get caught on this again, is do any of you remember a company called Saygus?
No, but I did look the company up and didn't think much to them.
If anything, I think Mark might know them, but I could be wrong.
To be honest, the name, no, it's not ringing bells.
Squared? Does that name any bells?
No, I've just Googled them, but...
I haven't heard that name myself, yeah.
You have or haven't?
I haven't, no, I haven't.
Alright, so Saygus were these guys that put out... they said they were going to make a phone called the V Squared. It had a 5-inch 1080p display. It had a Snapdragon 801, which at the time was top of the line. Had like 3 gigs of RAM.
LTE.
Like 20 megapixel back camera and 13 megapixel front camera, both with OIS. Removable battery and two micro SD card slots, so you could have up to 400 gigabytes.
You might as well just carry a portable hard drive around in your pocket, one of the wireless ones.
I mean, if you're buying fucking 200 gigabyte micro SD cards, you're spending a lot of money. They're not cheap.
God, yeah.
Well, they might be cheap now. It's been a while since.
Yeah, they've come down. What did I think Amazon had them on sale over just after Christmas for, oh God, what was it? 100?
30, 40 quid. I think I saw a couple.
Wow, that's actually not bad. It was.
Oh,
I know SanDisk did one, but that was, again, like, it was almost like £1 a gigabyte when I first looked.
Yeah, no, it was a lot less than that. I'm sure it was like half. I don't recall. Somebody will know what they were selling it for in the sale.
It was on a sale,
Yeah.
so.
A lot of storage.
I want.
Yeah, looking at this device, and yeah, I mean.
It doesn't look pretty, does it? It looks really ugly.
Audio.
looks cheap.
It's like, what? I mean, just.
Like, it was meant to come out like a year ago, I think, or a bit more than a year ago. Oh no, they showed it at CES a year ago, saying it was coming out later in the year. It didn't come out later in the year, so then they made an Indiegogo and got more money. Then they did like pre-orders, and it still didn't come out. Then they went like super silent on like their social media accounts, and now they're back here saying, "Don't worry, it's coming."
Remember the things we were saying about the Oculus, how it's a device for knobs who wander around San Francisco with more money than God?
Mm-hmm.
This phone.
No, not the same. No, there are legitimate uses for the Oculus Rift. This is literally for people that's just like, trust me, man, I have these lossless FLAC files, and I can totally hear a difference, and I have to have every album I have on my NAS at home.
Yeah, people who are actually using FLAC files, they're not buying this.
They're buying that £1,000 Sony Walkman.
Yeah, some of them actually would be, and there's many other £1,000 players that they would buy, but they're not buying this. They're not buying something that goes, ooh, we've got Harman Kardon speakers.
Speaking of, we'll circle back round to this. If you look at the dock, we'll look at the last one. We'll cycle round to that afterwards, Mark. Abdullah, what do you think about this? It's kind of a weird device, and they come because it's weird. The company employed a YouTuber to do an advert for them, and I'm kind of weirded out by it.
Which YouTuber was it?
Unbox Therapy, Lewis Hiltontiger.
How the hell can you say his last name?
I'm guessing. I don't actually know.
I was going to say, I had to call him Lou. Lou from Unbox Therapy. That's the way he's known.
So yeah, Abdullah.
I haven't seen the product very well, so it would be unfair for me to say something about it.
Okay, so let me try and explain it to you. Think of one of the early smartphones, so like 2008-ish, like an old HTC, so kind of blocky, not all that pretty, very plastic. Okay.
Okay.
Put two speaker grills on the front. Yeah. They're not actually on the front, kind of like on the front edges. So they're like kind of off. Yeah?
Yeah.
Get rid of bezels on the sides, but leave them on the top and the bottom. Yeah? And then put 3-year-old internals inside. That's this phone.
So basically a pile of wank.
Oh, and they're charging $600 for it as well, by the way.
Big pile.
Yeah, they're trying to charge $600 for it. It was... But it was originally announced with KitKat, with a possible upgrade to Marshmallow, and now a possible upgrade to Lollipop, and now they're saying, oh, by the way, it will launch with Marshmallow because we're so late.
Well, at least they're launching it with Marshmallow, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess.
Wow. It's obviously going to be zero.
Yeah, apart from the pre-sales, they're not going to sell many of these.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if they reached 1 million sales. I'd be very surprised.
They won't get anywhere near 1 million.
No, because I know they got like $500,000 in pre-sales. They got like 500,000 in pre-sale. So, anyway, moving on. Who wants to speak about the next one in the dock? Chris? Mark?
The Lenovo Link.
Yes.
Yes. So those of you, well, it'll be mainly the developers, although they'll use something else. There's a thing called the Lenovo
Link.
Link.
Or
Link.
Yink, whatever. Like
Link,
we don't discriminate.
Whatever you want to call it. And it's basically a 32 gigabyte USB thumb drive, something everybody has, something everybody knows, even the less tech-savvy people know. But it has a catch. It has a standard USB-A connector on it, and this is to allow you to mirror your phone with the onbuilt software, hence where the name Link comes from. Yeah, some people go, oh yeah, why would I want to do that? But the feature I've mainly noticed, and is what I like, is the fact that according to Android Authority, I didn't see it in action, you can use it to use your phone or tablet as a secondary display.
I haven't seen that one official yet, but I've seen.
It was mentioned in the Android Authority video.
Yeah, what I've seen is you can plug your phone in to your computer using this, and you can mirror your phone screen on your computer, or you can use your keyboard and mouse to control your phone. That was all I've seen, but I wasn't paying all that much attention to it.
No, what I saw was, let's say you get bored and you were to plug a keyboard and mouse into your phone. That's basically what you're getting, but you're getting it on your laptop.
See, that's cool, because again, a lot of the time I have my phones on my desk, and I don't really want to reply to stuff. But then again, I have Push Bullet.
Yeah, that's where I suppose someone could argue, oh, why spend that when you can use Android? What is it? Android Web? No, and AirDroid. That's the one.
AirDroid's a piece of shit.
But it was good, and then it just went on a big decline. But no, the feature I quite like that has quite caught my eye, and which makes me want to pick one up, but I know it's going to be not the cheapest thing in the world, is using your Android device as a secondary display. Now, some people go, why would you want to do that? Why not have a nice shiny Dell monitor that's going to cost you $5,000? Well, it comes down to if you travel a lot. Now, there's been various attempts. There was one by, was it Acer or Asus? I'm not sure which. Had a fully USB monitor.
It's Asus, and they've just updated it with.
Oh, they just updated it.
Yeah, they've just updated it to a 15-inch 1080p IPS monitor using USB-C.
Yeah. But there was one it required two USB 2.0 ports, which meant one for the video and one for the power. There was also one from G-Sync, I think that's how you say it, and that was a portable HDMI monitor. So it was full HDMI. The only catch was it had HDMI, VGA, and DVI. Yet the connector on the side of the monitor was all the same, but you couldn't plug a VGA cable into the HDMI socket, vice versa. It wouldn't work. So there's been an attempt, and the Lenovo Link would be a great alternative. As in, if you have the Samsung Galaxy View, the big 17-inch tablet from Samsung. Why did I have to think about that? And
I'm not gonna lie, mate. It almost sounds like you've been drinking and not me.
The only thing I've been drinking is Pepsi Max. But no, that's a cool, because something that was always said about that tablet was, okay, so it's a big 17.5-inch tablet. It can replace a TV. Why the heck hasn't had a HDMI port on it?
And we can't use things like Chromecast and stuff because the latency.
The latency.
I think it's like 300 milliseconds is the average latency for Chromecast.
It's painful. I'll put it that way because I've tried it.
Like if you cast your screen over, it's almost like a slideshow. I can do it on my computer here because I've got a Chromecast plugged in, and that is probably 20 centimeters from the router. It still stutters.
Yeah, I'm in the same room, and that's about a meter. I've had it at about a meter, and it's struggled. But no, it's the fact that you can use it as a secondary display, which you can do with some apps very similar to AirDroid, but they focus solely on sending your display. So if you, like I say, if you're on the road a lot, I suppose a good example would be if you were going to March of Droids or CES.
Which, as far as I know, at least one of us is going to March of the Droids this year. At least one of us.
At least one of us.
But hopefully more. So we might be able to do a live podcast from March of the Droids. But I won't promise anything.
Yep. So if, like me, I use two monitors. I use my laptop and some 720p TV, which I picked up off Facebook for $5. And
that's a decent price actually. Wow.
Yeah, 720p. It's 18. I'd say anywhere from 16 to 18 inches. Full digital. So if I really needed to, I could use it as a TV, but why would I do that? It's too small. And going to college, we use there's various Dell, HP monitors, and the one thing I always hate is the fact that they're not dual screen. And the one thing I hate when I take my laptop out anywhere is I don't have two screens. And I did try this with my Nexus 7 back in the day, and I used a piece of software, but I was stingy, didn't want to pay for it, so I found some cracks across the web, and it worked well for the best part, besides the software slowing my old computer down.
I really wish I would have gotten a chance to use, I think it's called Duet, which you plug an iPad into your Windows or Mac, and it does that. It uses an iPad as a second display.
Yeah. So
I wish I wouldn't have an iPad at the time, so I could have done that.
Yeah, there is some Android ones, but no, it's the fact that I could go. You could buy a crappy tablet, realistically, and if you just want something that can just hold, I don't know, display Spotify or TweetDeck or your Facebook, you could use basically a cheap 10-inch tablet, bigger the better, and just have it as a secondary display. Who wouldn't want that?
So that's the Lenovo Link, and it's actually not all that expensive. I think it comes at a price of around $40 odd. So it's going to be either 30 or 40 quid, because a lot of companies at the moment like doing one-to-one conversions as if they're a real thing.
I might buy it just for the 30, and the fact it's a 32 gig thumb drive as well is another reason to have it.
Yeah. So moving on, have any of you heard of a company called Jide?
I haven't heard of them, but I went on on YouTube and quickly found what you were about to talk about, and seems like a good idea.
Yeah, so Jide is a company made by a couple of people. One of them, I believe, is an ex-Googler who worked on Android, and they, I think it was last year, showed up to CES with the Remix Ultra, which is a Surface clone running Remix OS, which is a fork of Android, which I don't know how they managed to, but it's a very, very customized version of Android, yet they have full Play Store support.
That's nice.
Yeah, and it almost looks like Windows, or a mix between Windows and some very obscure Linux distro. But it's full Android, and it's done a lot of optimization to support windowing and stuff like that. Earlier this year, they had the Remix Mini, which is a very low-cost ARM-powered desktop PC, underpowered piece of shit, but it ran a slightly updated version of Remix OS.
I'll tell you what it looks like.
What this?
Yeah, it looks like a. When I just gone to the site, it looks like a very slightly more minimalistic look of Chrome OS.
So I would have thought it said it looks like a busier version of Chrome OS, because you can add things to the desktop.
You can add things to the desktop, but when I saw it, I was like, the first thing that came to mind was Chrome OS. I don't know if something you spotted.
I did, because of the look at the icons and stuff.
Yeah, it's a Windows Chrome OS.
So yeah, at CES this year, they came with the kind of the big announcement that they're essentially releasing a live Linux distro version that you can boot off of a USB drive. So anything, I think it's anything x86, but I could be wrong. It could just be Intel. As long as you've got a USB 3.0 thumb drive, you can run Remix OS.
That's run it live from the drive.
Yeah, or you can install it on your hard drive.
And since you had a nice new SSD, Dom.
Huh?
Since you had a nice new SSD.
I'm not partitioning this SSD. No, it's 120 gigs. It's just going to be for Windows.
I was going to say you could give it a try, but no, I've just gone onto the site
Sod that. I've got a couple of USB thumb drives. I'm using it for that instead.
Or like with your Chrome OS on your PC.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty cool experiment. Except I need a USB stick for something else.
Yeah, they've got support on the site for what seems to be you can flash it over the Nexus 7 and Nexus 9, which I didn't think they would do. But the officially supported list is the Remix Ultra Tablet, the Remix Mini, Nexus 9, Nexus 10, Cube i7, which looks like a...
It's one of those like cheap iPad knockoffs from
China. I would
China.
have said that. I would have said it was more of a Surface knockoff from China. And the Telecast X98 Air 3. That's
that's the iPad clone, the Teclast, yeah. I believe another thing they announced was a beta ROM for the Pixel C, which is incredibly interesting because the Pixel C was kind of panned for running Android when it came out.
Everything, like the iPad Air was for running iOS, which is something I still take the piss out of. But
yeah, but we all do these things like that are lauded as productivity devices. Don't have they have basic multitasking support, which is I find calling like side-by-side windowing multitasking very difficult. I consider multitasking as like actual Windows, not like Microsoft Windows, but the concept of a window manager.
I think that's where the name Windows for Microsoft came from. In the early days, it was running Windows as in...
like display Windows, yeah, but a lot of people, if you say Windows now, they think you mean the OS.
Yes.
So like a window manager type operating graphical user interface is a great paradigm, and now someone has ported it to Android. I'm very interested. What about you, Mark?
Conceptually, I think it looks awesome. I have.
That's great. You're reviewing it then.
To be fair, I'd love to find an old Windows XP machine for basically petty cash and run it. I think
I've actually got one around here with like a 1 gig of RAM and a oh god, what are they called? One of the original Pentium chips.
No, but
a Pentium M, like a mobile Pentium.
Yeah.
Like half a gig of RAM.
Yeah.
You know what I would like?
Pardon?
You know what I would like? I would love if Google incorporated this with the Chromecast, so they could, if they're thinking of integrating Chromecast and Android, put these two together. That would be nice.
That'd be great if Google had any authority over these guys. These are a completely separate company.
If they sort of like merged together or negotiated some sort of deal or whatever. That would be quite nice to see.
A lot of people say that Google should buy Jide. I kind of wish they wouldn't actually, because they're doing some stuff on their own. Maybe when they get a bit bigger, we might see something. I don't know.
I'd like to see maybe Google give them a giant wad of cash and say, go away and do something.
Yeah, like the ventures arm of Google instead.
If Google buy it, Google will do what Google tends to do, and kill it.
Yeah.
Kill it and then reuse, and then like leave it in leave it in the cupboard for a couple of years, and then go, oh yes, we do own this. Let's use it for something.
Spring clean it.
Yeah, let's just polish the dust off and use it for another project, and then charge a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
No, this does interest me.
Google's, I think, worse for kind of something abounds onto the scene. Google loves it for about 6 weeks, and then everybody in Google gets bored with it, ignores it for the next 6 months, and then goes, oh, well, nobody's looked at that for those 6 months. We'll just
rebrand it.
I will say one thing I thought that turned out to not be true was what do they call it? Inbox. The weird version of Gmail.
Yeah, very weird.
The predictive stuff, and I thought that would have been killed almost straight away. And in fact, they seem to be developing it quite quickly. I can't use that thing. I can't hand that much control of my inbox over.
I couldn't make any
imagine
sense of it.
there are people in Google that use it because
I believe there are
nobody
a lot.
else does.
No, I know a lot of, like, especially journalists and stuff. I know a lot of journalists that use Inbox.
Yeah, you see like Geeks Life and all of the tech channels seem to rate it, but
I've tried it and I can't give it that much control. I need to know my inbox is like, I need to know it's coming in chronologically. Don't group shit for me. I need to know. I like the stream.
I like the way Gmail currently just bundles everything into the 4 categories.
I don't even have that. I have the older version of Gmails that doesn't even have that. I never enabled that.
I had to change it. But I like that, as in, I did notice in the older Gmail on my phone, I was constantly being pinged when any crap came through.
You need to set up them spam filters, boy. You need to set up them spam filters.
Yeah, I couldn't be bothered. That was too much like hard work. But no, the fact it groups it up and I can just go into each group and then do a big search over it, that's enough control given for me. That's my comfort zone.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, because I don't even know how we got onto that subject. Nexbit, which is actually another kind of cool company doing some stuff with Android. I think it was September. They did a Kickstarter or something like that campaign for the Robin, which is their first phone. It was one of those. It was the phone that was lauded as being like never running out of storage. Essentially, it had 32 gigs of onboard storage, and they had like 100 gigabytes of their cloud storage, and the phone would intelligently decide what stuff to keep on the phone and what to move and blah blah blah. They initially had the idea of shipping in mid to late January, which they said is not going to be possible, but they're only about 2 weeks out. So all the early backers on Kickstarter are going to get it on about February 16th, and the other non-early bird backers and all the pre-orders and stuff are going to get it roughly a week-ish later. They're going to stop accepting pre-orders, I think, on the 15th of this month, so about a week. It's kind of a cool phone. I won't buy it. It kind of... they say it's not very customized, and once you replace the launcher, it isn't all that customized.
I've just watched their trailer and on the site, and they've just saying that there's one bit that's just made me chuckle, is you drop your toilet down the phone, you have to start again, which is true.
You drop your toilet down the phone? Jesus Christ. Big phone, small toilet.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You drop your phone in the toilet, and they said because of how phones are, you have to go through the whole tedious resetting up thing. They went, that's not smart, that's shit.
Yeah.
I think they've got their advertising trailer down on the T.
Yeah.
This made me chuckle.
I mean, Abdullah, do you have anything to say about Nexbit and the Robin, or is this not something in your wheelhouse? You're muted, mate. Before I said it, I should probably have said that first.
With regards to the dropping the phone down the toilet, cloud backup.
Yeah.
Are they saying that basically everything is saved?
Not everything, but a lot of important stuff like application data and stuff application data is saved partially on the phone. But even if you what's it called, delete the app, if you reinstall it, a lot of the data will still be there. But it's not in the same way as, like, I know you're using a Chromebook. If you like break your Chromebook and order a new one, you sign in, all your shit's still going to be there. Because I'm on my third Chromebook and I've done that. It's fine. It's not quite that, I don't think. But they're positioning it as well, what if you never have to
Run out of storage?
Yeah, what if you never have to run out of storage? What if you never see the storage running low, delete these apps? So if you haven't used Spotify in 6 months or whatever, they'll offload it. But when you need it, you tap it, they download it, and you don't have to log in again. You don't have to re-download your playlists. They're already there. It's stuff like that.
Yeah, that's quite good. I love that. Yeah. I love that.
It does look kind of cool.
Mint and white, is it? Yeah. Looks quite nice.
There's Midnight, there's Mint, I think they did another one called Lightning a bit later to the end. They look cool, but for me they have the same problem that the Xperia Z5 series has. They have the fingerprint scanner on the side, but it's not very left-handed friendly, and I'm left-handed.
Right for the win.
Yeah, but it is USB-C, it's
Isn't
LTE.
everything now going to be USB Type-C? That's the way I'm feeling. Android phones are going to be USB Type-C.
Yeah, if a phone in 2016 comes out that is not USB-C,
There's going to be something wrong with it.
a mainstream phone, I should say. If a
So we're
mainstream
talking
phone
like your Samsung, your Asus, and your...
Yeah, if
can't
HTC,
think of anyone.
Samsung,
HTC.
LGs, etc., and Sony's flagships in 2016 aren't USB-C, I will be sorely disappointed. And I will happily boycott and take the piss out of them for it. Not that it'll make much of a difference, but still, I'll do it.
It'll make a difference to you, and that's what matters.
Yeah, that's all that matters. So moving on to the last major topic is one that I think will appeal to Mark quite a lot. I don't actually... Mark, do you own any vinyl records?
I think technically I might do somewhere.
How can you technically own vinyl? You either own vinyl or you don't.
It's called owning it and it not being in your home.
I did possess and own some vinyl. However, I'm not sure whether it's still in my possession or still in existence.
Whatever.
I did see it a few years ago somewhere, so I think I might have it. But yeah, no, I'm not one of these like retard old people that run around going, "Ooh, vinyl's better." No, it's not. Right? It's like comparing a horse to a car and going, but the horse is better. No, in every practical and measurable sense, the car is better. The horse is shit. You might like it better. That doesn't mean it is better.
There you go. So
You heard it
I love
first
how
from
we
the
got
audio
onto
guy.
this. I love how we got onto this. This is starting this topic great. So at CES this year, Sony has unveiled a vinyl turntable. I think it's like the HSR X500 or something like that. Again,
To be fair, though,
sorry, what was that?
in business terms, though, vinyl is actually making a huge, big comeback.
Yeah, which is why I think they're
So-
doing this one especially.
Yeah.
So it's a turntable with a USB out, which isn't out of the ordinary. A lot of turntables now have USB ports.
Everything has USB.
I mean, a lot of newer turntables have USB, so they can be used for. I wouldn't say a lot of them are. A lot of the ones I've seen are.
The ones that have them are the bottom end cheapo shit.
That's the people that are buying them.
That makes sense because I am looking.
I mean, there are record players out there that if you want to spend $50,000, you can go and you can do it. And some of them, holy shit, they look like works of art. I mean, some of them look amazing. But
I'll tell you what is amazing. Those $50,000 Sennheiser, was it Morpheus headphones?
Orpheus.
Orpheus, there you go. They
Yeah,
look
the
amazing.
Orpheus 2. Where
Yeah, they're like 50
the
grand.
The amp is clad in Carrera marble.
Yeah, like
And
that.
at the launch event,
Like the
And
shit.
they get to use them.
and at their launch event, they had them, 100 feet up, away, way at the back of the stage, so all you could see is this tiny little box turning round. And it's like, did nobody at Sennheiser realize, actually, it's a pair of fucking headphones. You might need to be, like, close to them to see them. Yeah, I'm still bitter about that event. Imagery, if any, shut up. Right, I'm gonna.
Moving on.
I'm still so
Salty.
yeah.
Salty.
Never say salty on this podcast again. Never. Bad, Christopher.
Yeah.
So Sony's
Wow, I really haven't talked
Sony's
about
made a
Christopher.
Sony's made a new turntable that it's USB connected, but when you play the vinyl record, it transfers it to a high resolution audio file for your computer, either in I think it's Sony's DSD proprietary format
Of course it's proprietary.
or like a
Proprietary.
lossless WAV file, so you can use it on like anything. So they do both. It's not going to be cheap. I don't think. It's going to cost a lot. It actually doesn't look too bad. I kind of have a thing. When I think of vinyl players, I think of like gaudy things in like fake wood veneer, and this is actually kind of nice. It looks like black soft touch plastic with a glass case on top. It looks nice. It's, as you were saying, like, there's been a bit of a vinyl resurgence at the moment. I can go into my local Tesco and they'll have actually a fair amount of
Vinyl.
Yeah, especially that. I don't know why I keep seeing this, but you know the Nirvana. No, that sounded wrong. Nirvana record with the kid in the swimming pool, because her name is like escaping me right now.
I do know the one that you mean.
But the name is like tip of the tongue, and it's just escaping me right now. But I see that a lot. But that's kind of the one they're showing off a lot. So yeah, vinyl's having a bit of a comeback, which is a bit odd for me. I don't know.
Well, to be honest, it's actually been sort of having a resurgence for the last kind of 10 years. It's just becoming much more mainstream, particularly a lot of like club DJs, people that sort of mix stuff. That's kind of
That's where vinyl's coming back.
I mean, I think I saw last year that artists made more money from vinyl sales than they did from streaming sales.
Because vinyls, if you want it, you go out and buy it.
But they're not all that expensive.
But they're not that expensive, no. But I suppose with vinyl,
it just goes to show you how little like artists are making from streaming. Whether or not they should be making more is a different topic. But the fact they're making more from vinyl sales than streaming music sales speaks a lot.
Because with vinyl, it's very much a physical object. You want it, you tend to go out and buy it. Where with a streaming service, it's digital, and let's say you want it, you'll just open up Spotify, Google Play Music, rant off about that you can't deactivate devices, and just play it to your heart's content. But no, vinyl is...
Speaking of streaming stuff, I have already pre-ordered The Force Awakens on Google Play, so I'm very happy with myself. I've pre-ordered the new Star Wars film already.
How long did it take you?
I was battling with it for like a week whether or not I should pre-order it or not, and in the end I gave in when I was drunk and pre-ordered it.
Of course you were drunk, yeah. Just one quick thing that I know we've not got the sheet that I want to mention whilst we're on audio is, I don't know how many people have thought, I've got a light bulb, why can't it play music? Well, Sony...
You thought that?
I have thought about it a couple of times. I meant, but Sony have come up with the answer. It only took them long enough. It's a LED light bulb with a speaker in it. I don't know what it sounded like because it was... obviously, it's CES, so it's at CES. But it does look kind of cool.
Because it's so small. I'm not going to lie to you.
Like, I think it's pretty good.
An entire speaker fit inside the light bulb.
And they've got to sound crap. Yeah. The only thing I can see this realistically useful for...
Restaurants.
Places like restaurants, anywhere that might want to either pump music out,
moderately
low quality, low volume, or
low
maybe
cost.
A tannoy system.
Maybe. That'd probably be some sort of it.
That'd work where I am.
Instead of having to roll out a whole separate system, you just plug in the fancy light bulbs and boom, instant tannoy.
But it does use Bluetooth. So
they use Bluetooth. And as I was speaking with someone on Twitter the other day, I think whilst Bluetooth headphones are kind of cool as is, there are a lot of problems they need to overcome first. Bluetooth interference is still a thing. Even with aptX, the quality of Bluetooth streaming, it's come a long way in a couple of years.
Yeah,
It's still very far away from like wired headphones.
Yeah, I got
I don't know. I mean, Bluetooth can be really excellent. Unfortunately, it's really often it's incredibly badly implemented.
Yes,
and that's what more causes a problem.
That's something I noticed with these. I don't know if anyone read Craig's review of these, but he sent me over the pair he reviewed, and I had a little listen. And then someone in my family went, "What do you want for Christmas?" I went, "I don't know." And they just happened to walk in my room and realised that there were these sports headphones sitting on there. But these are
You're so
intermittent.
lucky I didn't make a joke there. You are so lucky I didn't make a joke.
These can be intermittent, and I know this is something Craig experienced. He would be wear these in his ears, walking up the street, or at the gym, or he'd have his phone in his pocket, and it's something I noticed as well. And it's a stutter.
Yep.
And it's something I noticed, and then Craig went to me like when I was walking my neighbour's dog. Yeah, so if you follow me on Instagram and Twitter, you keep seeing pictures of a dog. No, it's not my dog. Although I have a dog cage, dog food, dog treat, dog bowls, and the dog cage, he's not my dog.
Yeah. Me and Mark both have these same Bluetooth headphones, the Axgeo Sprints. They're good. They're actually really quite nice. But they suffer from that same problem of if you put it in your pocket and you walk down the street, they do jump.
That's the problem. It's not all the time.
No, it's not. It's very intermittent, which is where I mean there are interference issues. Like Bluetooth still has a lot of bugs when it comes to streaming music.
Yeah. I mean,
I want it. They're super convenient.
Oh God, yeah.
But they're less reliable. Even on their best day, they're less reliable than my wired headphones.
I've not had that problem.
To be honest, I think really what's going to alleviate it properly is at some point we're going to have a new Bluetooth standard that uses 5 gigahertz. Because at the moment, the dropout problem, that tends to be more because the way Bluetooth is designed, it's designed to slot packets in where it can find space.
Yeah.
The problem is if it can't find space.
The only thing I'd say going to 5 gigahertz could be the same issue Don was explaining to me he was having with his 2.4 gigahertz mouse and keyboard would be yet again interference.
I mean, yes and no. There are so many fewer things on 5 gigahertz than there is on 2.4.
Yeah,
way
I mean,
less.
the number of channels that are available on 5 gigahertz is vast in comparison.
True.
Yeah, there are a lot of channels on 2.4, but there are only 3 that are really useful. But on 5 gigahertz there is way more. Like way more available, and B way more useful.
See, I managed to get I had a neighbour that had a wireless CCTV camera, and I could only assume it was on the 2.4 gigahertz band, but it kept messing with my internet. And I tried the standard channels, which is 1,
6 and 9 or 1, 6 and 11 or something like that. There's a couple of them that are really useful.
Something.
Yeah, 1, 6, 11, although in the UK you're allowed to use up to 13. Although if you pretend, not that I'm saying anyone should do this because it's kind of technically illegal to do in the EU and the UK, but if you do tell it that you're in Japan, it opens up channel 14, which means you actually get another completely usable channel out of it.
I managed to get it working. I managed to get my wireless router working fairly well on channel 7 I went for at one point. And
so Mark, is that why your internet's suddenly way better now and we can actually hear you on the podcast? You're actually secretly on channel 14 on your router?
No, these are all wired connections.
Did you have a webcam upgrade on Black Friday?
Yes. Why the previous webcam hated Hangouts? I don't know, because it worked absolutely fine for everything else.
Because Hangouts is a very unstable pile of wank a lot of the time, unfortunately.
Yeah. So,
Abdullah, I feel a bit bad because I feel like I've left you out. I've really tried to. You're also muted, by the way, before I finish speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a strong backup pickup that I kept getting. I think Mark got it as well because I saw his facial expression change a couple of times. Before we leave, like I said, I want us to each say our favourite thing and kind of why it was from CES this year. Do you wanna go first?
My favourite thing was the Razer Blade Stealth Ultrabook.
I can see where he's coming from.
Absolutely loved it.
I see where he's coming from. It shouldn't make sense, but it does.
So go on, Abdullah. Say why it's your favourite thing from CES.
I'm looking at it from a business sort of mindset, because before they catered for the gamers with the ginormous laptops. So now they're starting to focus on the Ultrabook, which is a lot thinner and still has the efficiency of a very good Ultrabook. Add that to the external core thingy, whatever it is,
I think it's
And
called the Razer Core. Yeah.
something like that, yeah.
The
Add,
GPU.
add that, they now appeal to a much wider demographic than before.
There has been companies like MSI that have done, and Dell do it because they did.
Yeah, but they're cheating, Chris. They're cheating.
Yeah, they're cheating. They have some.
They're essentially using an open PCIe by, I think it's by 4, maybe by 8 connection on the back of the laptop. They are like
That's how they're doing
super
it.
cheating, like the way they do it.
It's cheating, but it keeps. They did it at my old school, and the thing that was pushing the IT technicians and a lot of the staff towards it was it just meant that everything was always there and ready to go.
Yeah, no, that's
slam
cool.
your laptop, job
That's
done.
cool unless you want to unplug it quickly. Because on those ones, you have to actually power the laptop down, then safely unplug it, and then you have to turn the dock off, and then you can turn your laptop back on.
Oh, they didn't have to do that with that one. Or they
might
didn't
just
do it and they
standard
got it working some other way. They
Yeah.
used to just put it to sleep and then take it off and do it, but they upgraded the hard drives in there to SSDs. But yes, I can see where Razer trying to come from, as in the gamers, the people who want gaming laptops. Gaming laptops are big, they're heavy, and
Unless you go for the Blade 14, whatever.
let's go for the Blade 14, but that thermal throttles a lot. I know Linus was complaining about that.
Mhm.
He said it was thermal throttling a lot. I can see where they're coming from. It kind of makes sense.
The thing that makes sense to me is not like it's super sexy. Like it's a proper ultrabook and it looks like all the other Razer laptops. That's great. It charges using USB-C, which I love.
That's everything.
But the Razer Core is connected by Thunderbolt 3, which uses USB-C, which is a couple of PCIe lanes, which is amazing. Which means, unlike the MSI, I think it's the GS60 Stealth and the Alienware graphics amplifier, which use very custom, like hacky implementations, this is an open standard. This is a standard that anyone can use. Like, I can buy that HP EliteBook Folio, which has 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, and plug the Razer Core into it. And as long as the drivers are there,
Yeah.
I now have an external graphics card. This works with anything like that. I totally agree with what Abdullah is saying here. This is the shit, and I think
But
it's
it's
not too expensive
expensive.
either. I think it's only good. I think it's like $999 for the. I say it's not expensive compared to what Razer's other stuff costs. The Razer Blade Stealth isn't all that expensive.
But no, it's a clever idea. The one thing I didn't spot was there was no USB port straight in there.
Yeah, there
on
is
there.
on the Core or the Stealth.
On the the graphics card enclosure.
No, because it doesn't need to be. It's power and display out.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen 2 USB 2.0 ports on there, because
Do you have any idea how much bandwidth a graphics card takes?
Yeah,
It's pretty much saturating Thunderbolt as is.
Yeah, I suppose if you put an extra, I suppose that's an extra cable though. But no, I would have liked to seen something to keep your mouse, at least, or just your keyboard, not keyboard, mouse. I'm getting confused now. Just to keep your keyboard, mouse. We'll get there. So you're not using a trackpad. Yeah, I said that right.
I mean, I get it. I mean, like Abdullah, do you want to unmute yourself for a second so you can?
Yeah.
Like I said, I think this is probably the smartest. I mean, I can't say that yet because us three haven't said our things yet. But like, the Blade Stealth was the Blade Stealth was probably going to be my pick, and now I'm going to have to change it. Thanks for that. But well done. It's probably an amazing thing.
I said it's logical.
Yeah. Hello.
So yeah, it's a cool idea. I think it will take off, and I don't think it'll take off in the business area because
it won't.
at the end of
Not
the
at all.
day, it's a gaming laptop. The only business I can see is your people like Linus, because he does use a Razer Blade and as his laptop, but then he has his. Does he use the oil-cooled PC?
Yeah, the mineral-cooled PC.
The mineral, yeah. I wasn't sure if he used that, but he used that in his office with his nice big super sexy monitor, which I would Mine, but haven't got
which is the LG IPS DCI 4K monitor, which LG supplied for all of them. So Mark, you're next in my doc. What's your CES pick this year?
Well, to be honest, I think I kind of have two.
Okay, I'll allow it.
Because I can't decide. Both of them are completely ridiculous and stupid.
The best type.
Yeah. There is the Whirlpool fridge that you can, from your phone, control the temperature of the different shelves in your fridge.
That's cool.
Because have we not all absolutely needed that? I mean, when you're out, you're out in town and you think, oh my God, what temperature is the third shelf in my fridge? I don't know. Oh, I have to change it.
Mark, my Chardonnay has to be a different temperature than my cabbage, okay?
Exactly. I mean, these are life essentials. How we have survived as a species before this, I don't know. So there's that.
And
the other one, it's a pair of headphones.
Is it the Orpheus?
No. Has that actually been shown at CES?
Yeah, they showed it. They bought it. They bought it there.
Okay. Well, no. Now, have everyone seen the film Josie and the Pussycats?
No, I haven't.
I'm glad you said cats on the end of that, because I was really starting to get concerned for a second.
No, I haven't. Okay. What is it?
Well, there's a film,
I guess,
called Josie and the Pussycats, and essentially it's... does anyone remember the cartoon Josie and the Pussycats?
No, I'm not that old.
Shut up, Chris. I get it, Mark. Don't worry.
You've heard it. Yeah, essentially, it's a pair of headphones that have lit up cat ears.
Once you said that, I was like, he's going to say the cat headphones. He's going to say the cat headphones.
It's just like, oh my God, humanity has jumped the shark, well and truly.
So pray tell, Mark, why are they your pick?
Because if you have seen that film, everything just will make sense.
I now need to go and find out where I can rent this film then.
Yeah, it is a grand statement of where humanity is headed.
It's just amazing. Moving on before my brain falls out of my ears, Chris.
Yeah, just watch the film. You have to go and watch it. Josie and the Pussycats. It's amazing. Just go and watch it, and then look this product up, and you'll see exactly what I mean.
Amazing, Chris.
I want to just say some quick mentions is the Windows 10 Samsung tablet. Cool. There's a lot of things that have been cool, mate. It's been big for laptops and tablets. But the thing that really, if I would like, is the Lenovo Link. I just think the fact
you're cheap to buy presents for. Secret Santa done.
But no, it's the fact that it's oh fucking hell. It's a USB stick, so you've got your storage, and what it does is so simple, yet why haven't we had it before? The fact it's got the the flash drive aspect of it.
Let's just say we hope Lenovo does the software right, because it's Lenovo.
Yes,
it can very easily do the software right.
Yeah, Chinese companies, well, let's just say Lenovo especially, yeah, because they don't balls up software, do they?
Yeah, they'll balls it up, but if they can get it right...
Lenovo Link! It opens up banking details for everyone in the world to see.
If they can get it right, they're onto something. And the fact that it's... Obviously, it's a flash drive as well, means you're always going to have it.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that the fact you always have it, or you're going to have it in your bag, is quite a smart idea.
I see it. So, I mean, you guys can probably guess what my one is. It is the $5,000 monitor from Dell we spoke about earlier, because this thing looks like the shit, man. Like, I'm currently using probably about 2, maybe 3-year-old 22-inch IPS 1080p monitor from LG, and it's really nice. It is like, to this day, it's still a really nice monitor. And for the longest time, I thought about getting one of those. I'm sorry, what was that, Mike?
Oh God! Oh, sorry. I'm completely sleep deprived, and I'm just amusing myself with Josie and the Pussycats music.
So I've been using this monitor for a while. It's really nice. And for the longest time, I thought about getting one of those 21:9 ultra wide monitors, which I'll probably still end up getting because they'll be cheaper than this monstrosity. But the fact that if any of you follow me on Twitter and see any of my phone reviews, I am a massive OLED whore. Like, I love OLED TVs, OLED phones. Lenovo actually showed an OLED version, an OLED laptop this year at CES. Like,
OLED is becoming one of the things. It's slowly being pushed.
yeah, I mean, the hardest thing for the longest time was not just the efficiency of the panels, but is trying to get the life of them up, because the way they degrade is really strange.
Well, plus the one of the issues with the degradation is they were having a lot of life problems with blue specifically.
Yeah.
So you had to calibrate over time. The blue panel would increase power output to maintain a consistent viewing. So it was essentially it took them a long time to degrade panels, to work out how they degrade, so that they could, in software, artificially bump up the blue as required to keep it actually in step with the rest.
And also work on getting them to degrade slower, which is another important
point. Oh yeah, that's another thing.
Now you all know why there is so much blue in the TouchWiz interface on Galaxy phones.
Yes.
But they do. I mean, bold colors on OLED screens just look amazing.
They look insane. There is no way to replicate that on an LCD. You just can't. So when you see these HDR OLED TVs or this 4K Ultra HD OLED monitor from Dell using Thunderbolt 3 and USB-C, so I can have one cable going anywhere, this is the shit. This is my CES pick this year.
Another thing I'd like to mention is the MSI Vortex.
Yes.
And I only want to mention this because
I didn't bring this up because we're not a PC site.
No, I didn't want to. I wasn't going to bring it up, but I've just gone into my pocket and I've spotted it, and I like the fact that it's very similar to the MacBook Pro. I do like it. Okay, the MacBook Pro is a trash can.
The Mac Pro, not MacBook Pro.
Why am I going? Fucking hell. I've not been drinking, honestly. I've not been smoking anything.
Honestly, some of the times I'm pretty sure we should do a drunk podcast at one point.
I might have been.
Like March of the Droids, we probably got to do a drunk podcast.
I'd be like the only sober one because I'm not 18.
No, mate, I'll drink for you. It's fine.
I'll definitely. If I don't come to this year, I'm going to definitely be there for next year.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm almost betting. Well, I'm not going to say I'm betting my life on it.
But yeah, the Vortex is cool. It's got a socketed Skylake i7. It's got up to two 980s in SLI, not 980Ms, like desktop 970s. Sorry, desktop 980s in SLI.
It's a custom circuit.
Huh?
If I'm not mistaken, they're on a custom circuit as well.
Yes, they're on MSM boards or MXM boards, which are the mobile PCI Express module. So we've got 980s on MXM modules, mounted on custom PCBs, on a custom motherboard. So like the way the Mac Pro, if you take the outside off, there's a thermal core as a triangle. There is the motherboard with the CPU socket on one side, and the other two sides have the graphics cards and the RAM. This is all really cool stuff, and I think the SSD is mounted behind the motherboard for the.
Yeah, and there's a massive cooling fan on top which shoots the cold air through to cool it.
Kind of, not really. On the Vortex.
That's the way
it kind of works that way, except not really. It works in the opposite way. So it's got the fan on top because heat rises. So being called the Vortex, it spins and it sucks the hot air out.
It's
easier than going against the forces of nature, Chris. It's just a lot easier to.
So basically, they really should have just called it the chimney.
Or like MSI made a Mac Pro, basically.
That's what I was trying to say.
And it's going to be more powerful than the Mac Pro. It's probably going to cost around the same.
I think it's very similar priced.
Similar prices because it starts with two 960s in SLI for I think about $2,000.
Go on YouTube and find Linus Tech Tips and find his video. They wouldn't let him open it. Is all I'm going to say.
And he's very upset. He's very upset they wouldn't let him because he's got a couple of friends on him. So anyway, that has been the CES edition of
the CES, not the CES, the CES.
CES. Again, very proud I came up with that name. Anyway, so
Did it hurt?
Although we should probably point out that, as far as I know, CES has still got a couple of days left to go.
Yeah,
so I think today technically is the last day, but there are still people there for like another 2 days.
Yeah, so there could still be
some
new
ideas.
things to come, because there'll be some random company that is decided they're going to do the last day because everybody else will have, already been announced and they'll get to steal a headline.
You just reminded me, Kodak, of all people, announced a Super 8 camera at CES this year.
Awesome.
A Super 8 camera.
Who owns Kodak now?
Huh?
Who owns the name Kodak now?
No, it's still they didn't do a Polaroid. They were very close to doing that, but they were technically bankrupt for a little bit. But it's still the same company. They just brought in new management. But they were very close to doing a Polaroid and licensing the name out for everything, I think.
Yeah, no, I thought that's what happened. They basically went bankrupt and some people the name.
But no, this is like actual Kodak made a Super 8
So
camera.
Super 8, like the Super 8,
like 8mm. Yeah, like 8mm film. And it's like they have the film.
What did they do? Did somebody on the board go, well, what? We were really big in the 70s. What did we sell back then? We sold these 8mm film thingies.
But who's
I think 10% of Kodak's revenue is still filmed to this day, and they went to people like Tarantino and stuff like that and said, if we make more film, will you shoot on film? And they were like, yeah, totally. So they was like, fuck it, let's make a Super 8 camera, but it's also got a memory card slot, so you can record to memory card and it records to Super 8, and then this is the best bit, you have to send the film off to Kodak to get it developed.
Oh god, I was gonna say.
They send you the reel. It's amazing. The Verge have an interview with the CEO of Kodak at the moment.
I was gonna say, do you have to send it to Kodak, or can you take it to your local?
No, you have to send it to Kodak, which is the best.
You were saying, Chris, take it to your local what?
Chemist.
Like
Tesco's used to do it. I think they still do it.
Everywhere used to do it. Boots the chemist used to be the one.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody gave me a roll of film now, I would have to Google just.
I mean, I have a Jessops. I have like one of the largest Jessops in the country, but yeah.
Do they still exist?
There's a very small handful of Jessops that were saved.
Yeah,
very small.
Jessup still exists, which I think is kind of nice because they actually vaguely know stuff about cameras.
Oh, I go in there and tease them saying I'm buying like RX 100s all the time. It's great.
So basically,
I believe they work on commission. So it's like if someone comes in and buys like a fucking £1,000 camera. Anyway,
so you go in and buy the cheapest thing you could buy.
Oh, I don't buy anything, Chris. I'm poor. So let's wrap this up before we make it a 2.5-hour podcast.
We're about an hour and a half.
Yeah, we're a bit longer than an hour and a half at this point. So thank you for everyone that has joined us for the CES edition of Talking Tech. I have been Dom. I am at mobile_Dom on Twitter. Chris is at ChrisWallace959.
You got it right for once.
We have Shitterbrick. Mark, I can't remember your Twitter handle. What is it?
Mark2410.
Oh, I knew there was a 2 and a 1 in there and a 0 somewhere.
Close enough. And Abdullah, do you want to unmute yourself so you can say your Twitter handle?
The Nianic, then Nianic.
I'm adding that in the show notes because I can't right now.
Yeah, you can imagine me trying to put the tweet out. I was like, tweet that, why aren't you showing it? I know, I'll just go to Twitter and go into MobileTechTalk or MTT feed. and we have a list which has all the routers in it.
Yeah.
So if you,
So I am sleep deprived and I've been drinking. I'm sorry, mate. I can't see your Twitter handle right now. And you can find the site at MTT Feed. You can find us at www.mobiletechtalk.co.uk. Instagram, we are Mobile Tech Talk. Facebook, we are Mobile Tech Talk UK. And YouTube and Google Plus, just search for Mobile Tech Talk because they won't give us custom URLs yet.
because they're a pain in the rear end. Google should. Well, no, I won't go on that one.
Man, you messed up my outro. God damn it.
Try again.
Let's try again. So you can find the website at www.mobiletechtalk.co.uk. We are at MTT Feed on Twitter. Instagram, we are Mobile Tech Talk. Facebook, we are Mobile Tech Talk UK. And YouTube and Google Plus, you can just search for Mobile Tech Talk because they won't give us custom URLs. I am Dom. This has been This Lot, and you can find us next week. Goodbye.
Normal service has resumed.
Stop.